Hello there. Good morning to you. Good afternoon to you. And good evening to you from wherever you are joining us. It is brunch time with Mayegun live. Catching up on Tinubu and his lies. They don't even last more than a day, right? Nigerians are lamenting and they are protesting, especially the affected Nigerians, and you can see the poorest Nigerians to some extent. They are out there protesting the hardship, economic hardship caused by Tinubu's policies. And all he knows is give them food and share money. So he came out on the 4th of August. In his recorded broadcast, that got people even more angrier. Well, unfortunately, they didn't follow that up, right? Tinubu said he has done so much that he can't reverse any policy, clearly stated. However, he said he has given the state 573 billion naira to cushion the effects of the subsidy. And 2 days after, the governors who collected the money, they have come out to say, no, it's not a palliative. Don't send these people to us. We'll talk about that today. Meanwhile, today is the second day of the days of mourning. They declared in northern Nigeria right now. I believe everyone who is currently at their Jumat celebrating what is next. They are meeting in Lagos as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, Motide. So good morning to you once again. Don't worry, it's routine. I'm so used to that now, okay? So good afternoon to you and good evening to you as you are joining us this afternoon on the brunch time with Mayegun. Please like the broadcast, share it to invite your friends and maybe not so friendly friends. So it is update time. So 4 days ago, is it 5 days now? 5 days ago, went after Tinubu's policemen have already killed over 20 protesters. That was then. Now they've killed over 50. We'll get to that one. So he came out and he said, he read a speech which a lot of people considered as like campaign speech, filled with lies, misinformation, misleading information as well. But when you hear if you heard 573 billion given to states by Tinubu, because admittedly, the state governors have agreed, they've admitted that since Tinubu removed subsidy, they have been receiving nearly double their past allocation. And therefore, that gave Tinubu the leverage to say, go to your governors. I'm not absorbing them of anything right now, okay? I'm just saying. Now, in 2020, when coronavirus, you see this money, it wasn't it wasn't Tinubu's idea to start with. Remember all the fraud of the COVID-19 in 2020, when almost the whole world was donating money to Nigeria. Nigeria made more than, more than $1 billion, no joke. More than $1 billion in donation, in cash and in kind, that these guys stole. The food donated by China, right, was shared by themselves and stockpiled for what they call the palliative, that they are converting them to what they will use as election bribery. So while people were locked down, businesses dying, people starving, locked up for days, if not for weeks. You see, these criminals, the entire money they collected as donations disappeared. Almost nothing was actually given to people who were hearing all these donations to help people or help Nigeria to fight coronavirus. They also took loans too. I'm just reminding you all of this. Okay, so they took loans. And part of that loan was a $750 million from the World Bank, as usual, the usual corporate. So the money was to be given to poor countries, including Nigeria, to help them in their recovery from COVID-19. But the money didn't get released until last year. But the whole process of where or who is going to get the money or why, they've already been in place. So the state governors who shared the COVID-19 money, food and all of that at the time, some of them are gone. Some are still here with you as your governors. One of them is Seyi Makinde. So Seyi Makinde is pretty much in it. And another one is this guy from Nasarawa, Sule something. So when Tinubu used that as a means of saying his own government in call to cushion the effect of subsidy removal, he has given 573 billion naira to states and Abuja. That's pretty much to say, you know what? Stop shouting my name, okay? Go to your governors. They should be able to take care of you. I've given them the money. But it wasn't a gift. It was a loan. Among other loans that brought Nigeria to this, brought Nigeria to our knees today. So I'm going to start with this guy who, in fact, also touched something on the menace of Almajiri in northern Nigeria. I want to use his words against him and the rest of them. But to start with, Tinubu lied to you. Most of these governors probably have already stolen the money. Yeah, because it's a loan. So they told them to go and develop what they call the project plan. Okay, so we'll give you this loan. All right, but you must tell us what you want to use it for. So, and that is never, you will never find that once in Nigeria. So immediately they've put together all this nonsense project that they won't do. So the money has been shared even before even before Tinubu's subsidy trouble. When I say it's shared, it simply means all the states interested in the loan, they've submitted their request, submitted everything. They have been waiting for the money for 4 years or 5 years. They've been waiting for the money. But Tinubu and his gang, like the student loan, like all other nonsense they told you, which I'm going to possibly touch in the course of this conversation, okay? So he dropped that. And this guy, said, well, it wasn't a free gift, though. It was a loan, no? And it has nothing to do with your hardship. It has nothing to do with, I don't know. But listen to this. That's a Sule, their governor from Nasarawa.
Billion was the first amount that was disbursed under a program called Nigerian Community Action for Resilience and Economic Stimulus. That is called NG Cares. That money came from the World Bank, and that was the second disbursement, which came in November last year. The actual amount was credited to the account of every other state, sometimes around end of January, February, depending on the state. Indeed, the total amount of this 135 billion, Nasarawa State came first by getting 13.6 billion, over 10% of the total amount. But that money is meant for certain projects. It's almost like a regimented loan from the World Bank.
At what percent is for the repayment?
Well, the World Bank actually is doing it at no interest. The reason is because, just like the name ad, it was coming in order to support the states because of the COVID. It actually started around there to 2020. So the first disbursement was done even before Mr. President actually came in May 2023. So the first disbursement was done. The second disbursement was when the Mr. President was there. And then the third disbursement was the one that was done again in June this year. That's the 27 you're talking about.
It was advertised.
It was advertised. Yeah. All of them are supposed to be advertised because it's a requirement by the World Bank that the money must be advertised.
So there's supposed to be 3 installments.
3 installments.
And all have been fully paid.
All of them have been disbursed to all
the states credited.
Every state has been credited. No state is denying it. The only thing that the state would like to explain so that people will understand, it was not meant to go and cushion the effects of the economic hardship that people are facing. Because this is money that is tied to certain projects. For instance, in Nasarawa State, part of the money was to be used for the construction of 15-kilometer rural roads in every one of the 13 local government areas, at least 15 kilometers. So we ended up doing over 227 kilometers of these rural roads in the state. It's supposed to go into communities where there is no water and actually have boreholes drilled for them and solar power. It's supposed to go also into what they call cash transfer, where 2,000 people for 12 months will be given 10,000 naira each. It's supposed to go also for primary healthcare units, where everyone has to be given. So the money is tied to certain projects. The money is not for rice. It's not for palliatives. It's not for anything in that line.
But in some ways, it's supposed to serve to alleviate poverty, like the cash transfer.
Definitely. All of them are supposed to alleviate poverty. For instance, the World Bank identified certain routes that have to be done, in our state. And they selected all these roads one after another. And I will give you an example of one. It's an area where there is a lot of agricultural activity, a lot of post-harvest wastages, because the people didn't have the opportunity to bring out all these things. So by the time that we constructed these roads, the people were happy. They were able to bring out all their produce, to the market, and it empowered them. So reduce the level of poverty in those kind of communities. Other places where it has to do with health, with education, with agriculture. Take the one of agriculture. We had given, fertilizer and other farm inputs to the various farmers. So in Nasarawa State, for instance, the total number of people who have benefited from the NG cares of the 13.6 billion that we receive amounted actually to 259,754 beneficiaries. They all benefited from this particular program.
How can we track them? Is it possible? Is there a platform?
Yes.
That Nigerians can go and see that these people receive these funds?
You see, who is supposed to even follow this closely? The World Bank. The World Bank are interested in ensuring that everything you say you are doing must have happened. If it doesn't happen, you will not qualify for the next disbursement. Take the one for the first 136 billion. There is 1 or 2 states that get zero because it's tied to performance. How much are you transparent in your own state? How much are you how much are you funding education? How much is your own accountability as a state?
So the state that falter
gets nothing.
They get nothing. So the second tranche did not come because some of the states were not transparent enough in the first tranche.
Well, it's not just about transparency. It's also provision of the budget. The DLIs, which is called the direct link line link actually have to be agreed. And the World Bank must inspect to ensure that you have met all these requirements before now the minister or the Ministry of Budget and Planning will now submit to the World Bank, and the World Bank approves before the money comes. So it's a World Bank loan. It was not money meant for us to do that. And the reason why Nasarawa State is at the forefront of doing this is because the second tranche, as I told you, we are number one. We got 13.6 billion. The second one, we got 27 billion. This, I will tell you, for instance, this 27 billion, not one naira has been touched in it so far. Because
it's still it's in the bank.
We got the money in June.
Okay.
And we are just drawing the work program right now. But the hit right now in places like Nasarawa State is that the money is there. We want our money. The minister said that the money is meant to be for so and so, but it is not. It's a World Bank loan.
Right, but it's not also, they're not also wrong by saying the money is for poverty alleviation. Only that it is tied. It is project tied.
Exactly. It is exactly like SUBEP. If you want me to call it in a very another language that people will understand, is a regimented facility. It's loan that is tied to project. You are to buy this biro. The biro must be red. You can't change it and go to. You are to do, and I'll give you a very good example. The example is with the rural roads. I told them, okay, I went to World Bank myself. I had a meeting with the World Bank and said, World Bank, these rural roads, sometimes when we do them, in less than 1 year, the rain comes and washes them out. Can we do, maybe instead of doing 15 kilometers, can we just go somewhere and do, maybe just about 3 or 4 kilometers for certain places, but third road? They said no. It's supposed to be what was applied for, and that's what it is. So that's what I mean by it's regimented. It has to be exactly for what it's meant for. $1 billion was the first amount that was disbursed under a program called Nigerian Community Action.
Now, the point of listening to that video is to just put it on record that it wasn't a gift. It's actually money that, that doesn't, like I said, that won't stop you asking questions like, okay, what did you do with the money? Nasarawa State is one of the poorest states in Nigeria. It's also one of the smallest by population. However, Nasarawa State, like other northern states, they are just like piggy bank for politicians, whoever grabs the power there. It serves them. They roll out all this nonsense they say on TV. We touch life of this, we touch life of that. But when you go into the place exactly, you will now look at the place and you get to see those who are supposed to be benefiting from this. And then you're like, damn it, man. So they are playing game with the people's lives to start with. Or if you are from Nasarawa, you are going to pay that money back. It's a loan. And I'm glad the guy said he collected a 13-point-something billion naira from that money. So it would be great to know what he actually, but he mentioned that he shared money, he constructed a 3-kilometer road, he did this or that, and that's what qualified them to get another loan. As if to say not true. Because, you go to these places, and you'll be wondering, where is the project? Where is it? Is this what you, Because the World Bank giving them this loan do not want any development anywhere. For real. But Nasarawa people are in debt. Yes, they are. Okay? And they have a way of taking it from you. Me, I know they pay anything, them borrow any money, that's their problem. Me, I know who anybody. That is naive. They don't even have to, even if you don't get a job, you will pay part of the loan. You see this inflation you are suffering from? That because of these loans. The more they take, the more you suffer, because the promise is that they will squeeze you to pay back. That's the promise. Imagine, money with loan, they won't give them, among others, since 2020. They are just getting the loan in 2023, 2024. So it wasn't really about development or immediate development of Africa, immediate support for the Africans. That is not why they are giving them this loan. They don't give a damn if you use it for the project or not. They know they are not using the money for these projects. They do know. Then they give them more. But that's why when they want to give them, for example, if World Bank want to give Africa, any African country, $1 billion loan, they will now tell them and say, for you to access this $1 billion loan, we will be the one to decide and determine how much we will be paying for your resources that any of our interested partners, any of our partners are interested in, right? We will be, if you have gold, now this amount will go buy them. Say, okay, no problem. If you have a this, that's how much you are buying. And we will only sell to us. However, to service your debt, this is the interest. So are you sure you can pay this money? Yeah, give us the 1 billion. If we have 1 billion right now, we can fix a road, we can fix schools, we can fix this, we can fix that. Say, no, calm down. We'll give you 1 billion. Don't worry. What happened now is that first, you need to first go and devalue your currency. Because our partners who are going to come to your country to take things, you cannot be the one determining the value of how much they pay. So you need to go and devalue your currency first to say, that's a small thing. We can recover back once we use the money. You know, they are expecting $1 billion from World Bank so that they can tackle poverty, tackle this, tackle that. World Bank won't give them that. So by the time they now say, we are ready, we have told our people, they have tightened their belts. We have told them they need to sacrifice. Now give us the 1 billion. Say, hang on. Take this $50 million. Yes, sir, $50 million. We need 1 billion. We need electricity. We need road. We need this or that. Give us the 1 billion now. That's what we need. We'll pay you back in 5 years. No, it doesn't work that way. But we have fulfilled all the righteousness now. We have devalued our currency. We have amended our monetary policy to align with everything you said. Give us the 1 billion. Take this 50 million first, okay? Take this one. Go and use that to fight polio. All right? Maybe malaria or polio or anything. Or women empowerment. Take this one. We'll give you, don't worry. That's not how we do it here. Take 50 million. The Weres will collect the 50 million. They will share it among themselves. They say they are fighting polio. Another 6 months, they will call them again and say, our people said this, your currency is still doing some strong get. You may need to kind of devalue it a bit more to unlock the remainder of your loan. Our people are already suffering. You find a way around it, okay? If you want to unlock the next one is 250 million. We are ready to give you 250 million from the 1 billion we promise you. Well, you need to go and cut that thing again, okay? Say, how are we going to do it now? Okay, don't worry. We'll find a way around it. We'll come back next week. Then you hear it. Breaking news. The Tinubu says so has increased the import tariff. They have increased charges on bank alerts. They have increased this or that. Once they announce that, then the next breaking news. World Bank approved $250 million to Nigeria to go and fight malaria. Yeah. Remember, they were promised 1 billion that they are going to put everywhere to make sure. Now they will now be giving them in tranches. Something they were supposed to give to them that time, right? That can now stretch for like 4 years, 5 years before they finally access the whole 1 billion. I'm just giving you a context of how they do it. It wasn't about development in any way in Africa, for real. But there are some smart African countries that collected this loan and did their best to actually utilize it, use it for what they want, for its purpose. They are still in debt, but they have something to show for it. Go to Tanzania, go to Eritrea, go to some of these, go to some of these East African countries who have collected some of these loans in debt. You see them with modern train, modern days, lovely paved roads. You go to their local clinics, they are all tidy and all that. They are not rich, But you can tell what they use their money for. I'm not saying they are not corrupt. But the people you have in Nigeria are horribly, like terribly, horribly corrupt. So horrible. Now that same guy is talking about the pandemic of Al-Majiri.